It seems that Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister, is getting more relief from the judiciary. Do you agree with that?
Imran Khan's strategy of bringing the courts under immense pressure has paid off. There were scenes, very, I would say uncharitable scenes in the UK where judges' photos were being banged with shoes. Public perception is that the judges of the superior courts are very much unwilling to penalize Mr. Khan. This is not the Imran Khan of 2017. This is the Imran Khan of 2023, who is a force to be reckoned with, and you cannot wish him away. He is there. He has to be dealt with, and dealt with in a democratic political manner. The Sharifs and Zardari and co also need to understand that they have to work with him going forward.
So what about Saqib Nisar, the former Chief Justice of Pakistan? Suddenly, why is he, speaking with journalists?
Saqib Nisar Sahab is doing is responding to all those allegations because he's still facing the heat for his decisions.
Hello and welcome to DawnNews English. For 20 minutes, I'm Nadia Naqi with you. We have senior journalist and analyst Raza Rumi with us. And today we're going to be analyzing the developments that are taking place in Pakistan on the political front. It seems that everybody is kind of confused whether the elections are going to happen or not. There are also discussions around whether the system is going to stay or can there be an intervention. On one hand, we see that the election campaign for pml-n is being led by Maryam Nawaz. Today she was also speaking at the Sheikhupura rally, and Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister, is all set to launch his rally or his electioneering campaign for KP and Punjab from tomorrow onwards. Although he shies away from appearing in the court for various reasons on medical pretexts, at the same time today we saw that Islamabad High Court suspended Imran's arrest warrants till March 13. All of this is what we are going to be discussing. Thank you so much for joining us, Raza. First of all, initial comments. There's been a lot of, I'd say, discussion around the judiciary, despite the fact that on television, of course, we may not be so open about it, but yes, there has been criticism from various quarters. It seems that Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister, is getting more relief from the judiciary as compared to his, political rivals. Do you agree with that?
Because it seems that Imran Khan's strategy of bringing the courts under immense pressure has paid off. I mean, if you remember, almost a year ago, when the vote of no confidence was done, and then the matter went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court voted in favor of the vote of no confidence, and the courts were open late in the night to prevent Mr. Khan from doing something that he was planning to do. The immediate response by the PTI cadres, both in Pakistan and overseas particularly, was to bring the judiciary under immense pressure. There were scenes, very, I would say uncharitable scenes in the UK where judges' photos were being banged with shoes, and the judges were being called names, and this whole question was being raised: why have the courts opened late in the night? And through the year, we have seen that the courts have been opened late in the night to provide relief to a lot of PTI leaders. Madam Shireen Mazari, the former Human Rights Minister, when she was arrested, the Islamabad High Court took notice of that, and it was in the evening when she was the cases against her charges were dropped, or she was given bail, or whatever happened. So
Right.
That was just one example. So I think this pressure is partly one of the reasons. I mean, there are other reasons too, but there is definitely a perception. I don't know. I mean, people who have done analysis of these court cases could correct me. But the public perception is that the judges of the superior courts are very much unwilling to penalize Mr. Khan.
So, but then what about Maryam Nawaz? We see that during her public rallies, this is what even she's been doing. She's putting immense pressure on the courts. She's been saying that, she said it very openly that elections would not be conducted unless whatever has been done, against the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif is undone. And, she's been talking about the senior most judges in the Supreme Court and those who are sitting judges. So is she also on the same strategy?
Definitely. I think this is right from the playbook of Mr. Khan. Actually, this is an old politician strategy. So, Nadia, you would remember that when Benazir Bhutto, was the prime minister, I mean, she faced the Pakistan People's Party perhaps has been at the receiving end of the judiciary throughout the history of party's existence,
Absolutely.
particularly after Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's ouster, one after the other. The General Zia's coup was ratified. Benazir and her mother were kept in, confinement for years. Then Benazir came back, and right when she the '88 elections, the courts imposed the condition that only people with ID cards would be able to vote, and that disenfranchised a lot of PPP supporters who are from the working class. So, and then Benazir was ousted twice, and the Supreme Court did not restore the assembly and upheld those dismissals. And
Right.
that is when Benazir used to use a word called chamak, or shine, or shining, alluding that money has changed hands or whatever. And then we see, and in those particular days, Nawaz Sharif was the more favored politician by the judges and the establishment. So, and later on, of course, history changed its course, and then Nawaz also came under direct sort of scrutiny of the establishment, and the court started decreeing against him. So Mariam's, complaints and her allegations are not new. They are continuation of what has been happening in Pakistan. But in more recent years, this has become really toxic. So, sometimes, every court decision has been politicized. So even when the judges are ruling according to the law and constitution, now look at the current judgment. I mean, I know this larger bench was broken, and the smaller bench then gave a verdict for the 90 days elections in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the Punjab. But they have not done anything wrong. It is legal. The constitution is very clear that you have to hold elections in 90 days once the provincial assemblies are dissolved. Now, the political bickering between these two forces is something that the politicians are not taking care of, and they have made the parliament a completely dysfunctional, abysmally non-existent entity. And that is one of the worrying, facets, or forget about Imran Khan or Mariam or whoever. But I think in terms of Pakistan's democratic future, the undermining and devaluing of the parliament is a big red alert sign. And
I blame all the political parties for it, because in all of this tussle or the tug of war that they are a part of, they keep on forgetting that in appeasing one, they are basically just undermining the supreme institution according to the constitution, and that is the parliament.
Yes.
So what about Saqib Nisar, the former Chief Justice of Pakistan? Suddenly, why is he, speaking with journalists? Do you, because, there's so much of conspiracy theories that, are always circulating in Pakistan on the political front. Why is he being launched?
See, Justice Saqib Nisar, I mean, he is, just for the record, he was a very good judge at the High Court, and even as a Supreme Court judge. You can see some of his rulings are now cited, and but I think it is when he reached at the top, and the office of the Chief Justice and the benches that gave different verdicts during the Panama crisis. I think that is where he became really controversial. Because ultimately what was happening, Nadia, what was happening was that political issues and scores were being settled in the apex court. So whether it was the the investigation of Panama leaks, or whether Nawaz Sharif and his family had declared their properties adequately, that could not be settled. And that particular judgment of disqualifying Nawaz Sharif has become a kind of how would I put it, a haunting memory for the entire political class, because it was not just Nawaz Sharif, but Jahangir Tareen was also disqualified for life. Yes. Now the law and the constitution have no such provision. There's I tried even then to look at if there was a provision to disqualify anyone for life, because that is like the harshest of punishments you could award. And that too on a very flimsy charge of, Nawaz Sharif not receiving money from his son, and not declaring, not declaring the unreceived amount or receivable amount, very flimsy charge with which he was ousted. So this kind of, so the impression once again, now the judges in their legal, minds or in their legal understanding may have done something right, but the thing is that it was a political issue, because it ousted a sitting prime minister who had been elected by the people and the parliament, who had a majority in the parliament, and here's a small group of unelected men, ousting him. And not just ousting him, but ousting him from the political arena altogether, because because after that there was a snowball of events that took place. So I guess, like Bhutto's Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's execution, the bench that decreed for his hanging, so that particular judgment against Nawaz Sharif is still an unresolved a wound in Pakistan's democratic history. Now, people can argue, people will have,
So why is Saqib Nisar speaking now? Do you think he wants to correct, or he wants to, remove or, erase this haunting memory from the institution that he belonged from? Or do you think it's too soon that he would speak up?
No, I think because he has been targeted so much by the pml-n cadres on social media, on on electronic media, in print, and also by the by some to some degree by the PPP, and of course Maulana Fazlur Rahman has joined in as well because recently he accused Justice Saqib Nisar of defending Imran Khan or advancing his cause, which is which does not make any sense, because once you are retired you don't have that kind of influence, but it's a political statement. So I guess what Saqib Nisar Sahab is doing is responding to all those allegations, because he's still facing the heat for his decisions. And I think also at that particular time, because in Pakistan what has happened is, conventionally in Pakistan's history, when we use the term establishment, it generally meant the military and its intelligence agency, i.e. the ISI and the MI.
Exactly.
So the three, the Holy Trinity was calling the shot.
Do you think that in this entire system right now that is running, the basic battle is between two institutions now? It's the establishment versus the judiciary, or the judiciary versus the establishment, and these political parties are no ones right now. I mean, they're not important.
From 2006 to 2017 or 16, there was an unwritten, formalized, but a rule that we are not going to dislodge you, de-seat our rival by using the establishment, either the military or the judiciary or whatever other bureaucratic institutions, and we will let them complete their terms. We will fight them, we will accuse them of all things, call them names. But that charter of democracy was broken with the rise of third force engineered by Pakistan's establishment, particularly two ISI chiefs, General Pasha and General Zahirul Islam, and then later General Faiz Hamid, who actively contributed to the creation of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf as a formidable third force. Now, Imran Khan is a different entity. So a lot of analysts in Pakistan, and I see, I participate in TV shows, often forget this point, that this is not the Imran Khan of 2014. This is not the Imran Khan of 2017. This is the Imran Khan of 2023, who is a force to be reckoned with, and you cannot wish him away. He is there. He has to be dealt with, and dealt with in a democratic political manner. The Sharifs and Zardari and co also need to understand that they have to work with him going forward.
Right. Okay. So, Raza, tell me one thing. What about the establishment right now? Do you think there is any, because there's a lot of discussion regarding, can an intervention also happen? Do you see that happening?
So again, go back to history. Whenever there's infighting, there's bickering. So the first martial law in 1958 was imposed when within the Constituent Assembly, there were actually physical fist fights. And one of the MPs then died because he was attacked with chairs. So, go back, our history has all, whatever we are seeing today, every little bit, Nadia, is a repetition of our unfortunate, bitter, toxic historical
which means that history can repeat itself.
History can certainly, but I do want to make a comment. Sorry, in my zeal to answer, give you the historical perspective. The judiciary and the establishment, yes, so after I was saying after 2007 they emerged as a major force, and now they are no longer lackeys of the military. They work in partnership, they work in collaboration when required. At times, because in 2022 we also saw that Pakistan's military establishment was internally divided. It was divided not because there was some major ideological issue. It was divided around the treatment of Imran Khan. General Bajwa ousted him. Some of his commanders were with him. Others evidently were not too much on board. And that is why we saw when the new army chief, and then the whole battle in 2022 was, who is going to be the army chief? Is it going to be okay? And then when the army chief was appointed, two generals left. They did not want to salute the new army chief, which was a clear sign. Yeah. So in hindsight, there was a clear division. Now, when this is happening, the judges read the signals. They're saying, oh, well, they're not very clear themselves. They don't have a unified policy. So, which means that we are going to arbiter and we are going to steer. We are in the driving seat. And that is what we are seeing. That the judges, the Supreme Court, the high courts are very much so in the driving seat. They are determining when the elections are to be held. They are determining whether people who leave their parties can vote or not. They are willing to rewrite the constitution if need be. And so this is actually a reflection of the fact that the new army chief, if you remember, General Bajwa introduced his Bajwa doctrine. He invited a group of people and he told them what were the facets of Bajwa doctrine. I think the Hafiz doctrine has not really come about. It is still a work in progress. So we shall find out soon in the next coming few weeks.
We still have to see whether it's going to be, in a trickle-down effect, or is it going to be by force. We still have to see that.
Yes, and Nadia, also don't pay heed to the rumors. So lots of speculation is, the army is not going to let Imran Khan come back. Well, yes, I mean, there's again a historical trend that a person ousted by the establishment and the political forces is not allowed to get a second term. But remember that Imran Khan is a different political creature. He enjoys wide support within Pakistan's unelected institutions, the bureaucracy, the army, the judiciary, the media. So media is also unelected, but power broker to bane hue na. All these big anchors think that they make and break governments. So if you ask, your team, in any channel, I mean, I wouldn't say DawnNews because that would be conflict of interest, but maybe you can go back to your previous channels and do a little poll, and a good majority of people will say we are PTI supporters. We prefer Imran Khan over others. So this is the reality we are dealing with. So yes, So,
So because
so,
because
so
because
the
I have to
army.
close the show, Raza, I just
uh,
want to know one thing. Past 2 days we've been seeing former President Asif Ali Zardari speaking, and the kind of statements that he's making makes me feel that very soon he's going to be all set to act exactly how People's Party would with PMLN as their arch rivals.
Yes, they're distancing themselves mainly because of the economic fiasco and the high inflation, unprecedented inflation rate. Nadia, at the end of the day, that is what a voter cares about. And the voters are really angry at the incumbent government because with 40-50% of food inflation, they are really suffering.
Absolutely.
And the
Yeah.
PPP will not want to take the blame for that. So that's why you can see that Bilawal has also made a sign that we will separate from the government if flood victims are not given. That was just a political statement, but it's a
Right.
sign. And I think there's also something deeper at work. If the PMLN has been cut to size, if Imran Khan is not going to be allowed to return to power, then you know what? The chances of PPP under Bilawal Bhutto Zardari emerging as the power broker, the ultimate PM nominee, cannot be ruled out.
So much to neutrality.
Well, neutrality, Nadia, is always an ideal. It is always a vague idea. We all want it, but and I know, if General Bajwa admitted for 70 years, he said we were not neutral. Now we have become neutral. To undo that policy would take maybe another 70 years or at least half of that time. So it ain't happening soon.
Thank you so much, Raza, for being with us on 20 Minutes. It was indeed an interesting analysis by you on the entire political situation. Hoping to have you soon as, we progress on this front. That's all for now. Take care and goodbye.